Good morning and welcome to Think About Thursday. If you've been with us for any length of time, you know that Think About Thursday is always giving you room to think. And as an audience member once said, and I quote, "It makes you think." And if you've been doing a lot of thinking, that is exactly what we would like you to do. Today we're going to think about what we choose to think about. A lot of times in conversation, it's all about how you think and how you feel. While being trained in this profession of life coaching, and there is such a thing if you really want to do life coaching, we don't tell you what to think. We show you how to think. And one thing that I want to share with you guys is giving you the opportunity to share what you think. And that's not in a controversial way. That's in a way of helping you to know that your thoughts are important. They're important enough for you to give it some thought. And Vibe Talk motivates you to be able to transition in your thinking. And I know for me, sometimes I have to think differently. You know, there are some who live among us that let others do their thinking, while there are others of us who can think independently. And which one will you be? Will you let others think for you? Will you allow yourself to have space enough to think for yourselves? I don't know about you guys, but I can tell you one thing about me that's for sure. I like to think independently. I'm going to tell you something. It has saved me when I think on my own, okay, without allowing others to decide for me what to do. That is why we have a brain. It gives us the insurmountable possibility to create for ourselves the power to think. How are you guys using that power? How do you use your power to really give thought to what it is that you want to say and do? I notice with a lot of people, it's almost like they haven't ever been given the opportunity to think while being on their own. Because you will ask them something and they get stuck. And I'm finding out the reason they're stuck a lot of times is because no one has ever asked them the question. And they will stumble over their words. Good morning to my co-host Trish, and good morning everyone.
Good morning.
So when you ask people something, you're allowing them to think. And that's what I want people to think about their choices. Our conversation today on this emotional awareness and mental health awareness is choosing your thoughts. Does that surprise you? That you can choose the way you think and feel while allowing other people to feel the way that they feel and think? There would be less argument if we would just start the power of giving ourselves the ability and the capacity to think without trying to control the way others think or feel. You would free so much space in your mind and heart if you would just allow other people to choose how they feel or think without trying to force people to think and feel the way that you do. So today you get to evaluate your thinking. And I leave you with this question. Are you a person that can think independently on your own? Or do you allow others to think for you? As if you have no say-so. See, Vibe Talk Facing the Lion has always been about your power and how you are using your power. With that, I ask you the question this morning. What are you thankful for? We have not forgotten that. Yesterday, I was able to see so many beautiful flowers. Brilliant colors, vibrant colors. I was very grateful for that. What are you thankful for, Trish?
I'm thankful for my grandma getting out of the hospital yesterday. That's what I'm
Yeah,
thankful for.
I'm glad that she did that, and I wish her a well recovery. I do. What are all of you guys thankful for? I want you to think about being more thankful as you go about your weeks, in your days, your months, in your year. What have you been most thankful for? And what has your mindfulness been thinking about? What drives you to be who you are? When we think about our lifestyles and we think about our thinking pattern, do we live a more positive life or negative thought? How do you know when a person is negatively thinking? In fact, I was in a conversation with someone and I began to say about that person, gosh, everything they say is negative. How does that sound? If you say something that's positive, they're going to confuse the conversation with something that is going to be negative. You say it's a beautiful day, and they say something like this: today is not so beautiful. That kind of dampens your spirit, but I want you to know why you don't allow it. Good morning, Nona, and welcome to our podcast. Our podcast is live, by the way, and you can find us on YouTube, Instagram, and right here live on Facebook. We are streaming everywhere. So how do you have a more positive outlook? Sometimes that can be difficult, but I want you to think about each day and self-caring for yourself. Things that you need to do. And that's not being selfish. Such as, if something is negative, how do you transparent or transform into more positivity? You must make that list. Because remember, we've been saying that all lists look differently. We talked about a joyful list. Have you made yours yet? See, self-caring. You can choose to be positive or negative. It's up to you because you own that power. You know, have you ever known someone that just goes around and just is so annoying because they're always happy? And I mean that in a disingenuous way. But now, have you ever been around people that are truly content? True satisfaction. No disingenuous act. Just happy with life. Happy with living. Give me some of that, you might say. When we think about our thinking and our thought pattern, it does in fact impact us. It impacts how we feel, how we think, what we say. And all of us have had a bad day or some. And we ask the question, are you having more good days than you are bad days? When we think about our positive thinking, it indeed lowers your stress level. Guaranteed we're going to have stress. Remember, our stressors are those lions that we face. Challenges, disappointments, we all have them. But how many of us can really look on the positive side? Despite the challenges in our life, we smile. Because you really never know what's going to happen with a person. You don't know what's happening with them as you see them. And wouldn't it surprise us to get to know someone each day? As we start to speak to them, we say, wow, I didn't know they were going through that. How many of you have had reactions like that?
I have.
Good morning, and thank you all for being here. Would you please tell us where you're listening from? Thank you. And if you're new, we are Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast. Please Tell us where you're from. I am from West Coast, California. Trish, as my co-host, is from.
I'm from South Carolina.
Yeah. And Trish, you want to tell us about your experience?
Yes, it happened to me 2 days ago where somebody was going through something and I didn't know why they were acting a certain way, or I didn't know why that was happening. And they told me what was going on with them. And they were like, I've been going through this for about a month. And I'm like, a month? I couldn't tell. Like, I was very, I was very shocked because you never know what people are going through. Even when you think you know the people around you, sometimes you just don't know.
Yeah, yeah. And it's important to stop, think about it, and if at all possible, talk about it. You know, a lot of times with our young people, we may need to do that more often because even though young people seem to be happy, they're dealing with a lot of stress. Let's think about that for a moment. And that's why we want to encourage the conversation of thinking about how they're feeling. Many people have kept diaries, journals. I encourage you to do that. And when we first really started here, we encouraged people to keep journals. And I understand that every day is so busy. It's important because that way you can actually read your thoughts. You could go back to your thoughts a day later and say, wow, I was really feeling like that. How can I compare it to how I feel today? You can do that. It may be a challenge, but now we're going to talk about thoughts and how we can affect and have impact on our own thinking or not. We'll be right back. Cause we're called vibetalkfacingthelionpodcast. Go check your favorite streaming platforms. Feel free to be interactive and tell us your story. Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Music, YouTube, and so much more. We're also on Facebook and Instagram. Go give it a shot. Saturday nights is our Vibe Talk After Dark. Join me as we listen to chill music, take song requests, and dedication. We are streaming right now everywhere. Come check us out. We're back. And so we are talking about our thinking and the impact that it has on you. Sometimes we become where we think about our past. Now, everybody has a memory to think about your past. The very thing that I want to tell you in your thinking on your past is that you are not your past. Many people I've worked with that still hold on to guilt. They still are unhappy or think that they have no right to be happy. I I'd like to ask you, who told you that you couldn't be happy? And many of you say, well, in the past. See, our experiences are there for us to gain strength from, not to regress. Did you hear the word strength? When you think of strength, what do you think of? Someone strong, right? And that's what your thoughts should be. When you go back into your thought process, how has it made you strong? Or has it? It depends on you. Are you going to wallow in your past? Or are you going to use it as a building block for your pathway to healing so that you can become your best self? It is your choice. How many of you think that you've changed? Anybody changed? I
I did.
have. How did you change, Trish?
I changed from self-hatred to self-love and putting myself first in most situations now. Not in a selfish way, but in a way where I'm showing myself respect and putting boundaries there.
That clear and confidence. We hope that you will have heard that. Now let me ask you, who made you change? Who made you change, Trish?
Nobody. Myself.
You gained the power to be able to do it yourself. You heard it right here. And that's what we would like to see, your changes. Now my changes is, I've told you guys, uh, anger. I'm not an angry person. Things don't set me off. Even if a person walks in a room and they're trying to, and I've had this happen, where they try to make you feel like you've done something wrong. And you know you haven't, because you haven't seen this person or these people all day. But yet they will make you feel like you've done something. And I've stopped that because I could be in a perfect mood. And because I do care about people the way I do, if you can't tell me what's wrong, then I'm not going to guess at what is wrong. You have failed yourself because you tried to put it off on someone else. And there are people like that. So I've stopped that because that's not going on my plate. And so who can make me change? My own power to use my choice and my strength. So, are you changeable? And think about this. You can't change other people. I just don't always feel like I could help other people to change. How many of you have felt like that you could always help somebody to change?
I have. That's 100% me.
Yes, you can't. You have no power. Absolutely no power to change other people. But you have all the power in the world to be able to change your behavior. Notice the word your feelings, and your thinking. You can learn how to use your power to do this. Are we changeable? Yes. And how do we know this? What would the world be like if you chose to wear the same thing every day? and you chose to do the same thing every day, would that be exciting for you? Or are you into new styles? I like new styles. I don't like to dress the same way every day. I want variety. And you can do that with yourself by adding to your daily life when it comes to you. When my children were very young, I used to always tell them, let no one predict your behavior. Switch it up. What do I mean by that? If the teacher says, that kid is annoying, or that kid, oh, you can expect he or she to do the same thing, switch it up. You have the power. And by doing that, it was a happier experience for them. Never let anyone predict how your thinking is going to be, because only you have that power. You know, change takes time, and you will learn through time to be better yet yourself. There's always room for growth. How many are still growing? I am.
I am.
How many of you have a growth chart? You know, there are homes that people really have growth charts to see how much they've grown in height. They have scales to see how much they gained or lost. But now, are you keeping a personal growth journal, a personal chart? You know, you can get a vision board and keep it in your room to see how does your growth spurt compare or contrast. And you can make it very creative. If you've done that already, I'd love for you to take a picture and send it to us on any of our social medias. You can send that. And why? Because you're going to come to understand, you're going to be able to evaluate, you're going to see where your growth, where things have hurt you, you now say, you know, that made me well. That makes me well. You're going to be able to stay focused and find out what has increased in your life or what has decreased in your life. You'll never stop learning. You may have felt something very painful, maybe some time ago, but now you look at that and you say, wow, that used to really hurt me. How many of you have been there? And now you say, that no longer hurts me. Anybody?
I have.
I have. Where people would say or do something, and you know what I do now? Well, I start to reason. That's how they are. But I still leave change. I had something happen to me the other day, and I thought, wow, that person is still doing that. But then I thought about it. I can't change them. I can only change what my reaction is going to be. Trish, how have you experienced that?
I've I've experienced that with people where a friend of mine, um I suggested something which I know would be a good change for him. But before I used to be mad when he didn't listen to my advice. I used to be very upset and he would just go back to square one. I would be so mad. But now I'm like, it's your choice. whatever you choose and whatever you think is best for you, you should do that. Like, I don't try to enforce my advice and my ideas on him. I just let him decide. Because at the end of the day, it's his life. It's not mine.
Yeah, exactly. Now, the challenges that we face are roadblocks when it comes to us making changes or improvement in our life. We face roadblocks, setbacks, challenges, but how do we look at it? Each day is a day that we can feel more grateful. Each day is a day to leave room for thought as to how you will handle each day, because each day is different. And why is it different for me? Because I choose that. I'm not a person that does the same thing the same way every day. I gotta have a switch up because I like change. I like to think things. And why? Because our brain has the capacity and the power to change. Always remember that. You will experience growth in the end of it all. When we try our best in life, is it your best or someone else's best? And parents, please listen to this. Why do we say parents? Because some of us live vicariously through our children. We say we didn't do that, but we'd like our children to do that. Let them be free to do what works out for them. And I say that with the guideline of making sure that they're productive in their choices, because sometimes children grow up. That's a fact of life. And you may see a vision for them that they don't quite see for themselves. Let them tell you what their visions are. Yeah. And I know with me, a lot of times I've cringed, but then it works out. It works itself out. So don't try to live through your children. Please help them to be their best at just trying to make it. We all survive differently. How many of you knew that? We all have been given the power to survive differently. And as long as I see my children survive, that's what I care about. And as long as they know how to go out there and they can take care of themselves, again, I say this with discretion, because it doesn't mean that they're going to go out and they're going to go rob somebody because they need to survive. It means being a hard worker. It means being able to put food on your table and to be able to feed yourself and thrive. We all learn. Just do your best. How many of you are good at beating yourself up? I used to be really good at it. I would beat myself up before anybody could get to me. Anybody's ever done that?
I have.
Yeah. What was that like for you, to beat yourself up?
It sounds like I'm trying to. It's like I'm not my own supporter. It's like I shoot myself down before anybody else does. I'm like, oh, before I get on this stage, I know I'm I'm not as good as I think I am. So let me just go home before I even perform. That's how it sounds. That's how it sounds to me.
Yeah, yeah. The worst way we can beat ourselves up is when we make mistakes. We don't forgive ourselves. We make mistakes, and mistakes are inevitable. We're going to make mistakes. How many of you heard that? You're going to make mistakes. You have made mistakes. I have made mistakes, and I'm going to continue to make mistakes. But now, is there room in your flower pot to access more nourishment, more nutrient, self-care, so that we can grow from the unforgivable? Because some of us have not graduated from unforgivable to forgiving self. There's one thing to say you made a mistake, but there's another thing to relive over and over in your mind that you made the mistake. Because some mistakes have been, no doubt, unchangeable and very tragic. But now, if you're alive today, give yourself permission to forgive yourself and do it one day at a time. Because if you say, okay, I'm listening to the podcast on choosing my thought, and okay, it's easy to say, forgive yourself. Work through it and reminding yourself that we all make mistakes. We have the power and the strength. Notice how I put that there? To be able to gain access as to how to forgive ourselves. Everyone got that? In this podcast, we always talk about things in which to be grateful for. Every morning, we've been asking that question for the last 3 years. We're going to be right back. Stay tuned. We're going to talk about being grateful in our thinking. We're back. Did you know that there are so many things to be grateful for? So many things that it should fill our mind and our hearts in an overflow of thankfulness. One of the things that people do as a ritual, they have been thankful, and they have been sure to say how thankful they are one time in a year. We need more abundance of being thankful, grateful, appreciative. And that's why you'll hear in our podcast me say, what are you thankful for? I want everybody to stop and think for a minute. What are you grateful for at this present time? What are you grateful for? When you start to hear people do this, is they haven't really thought about it. When you say, what are you grateful for? And they start, see, when you do that, that requires you effort. But when you are saying right off what you are thankful for, it requires no effort. But now we want you to think about the efforts that you are putting into your being thankful. What are you thankful for? We all think about all the bad that's happened. this week already have made a joyful list. But now think about and choose about the things that you are grateful for. You can put that on your vision list. It doesn't have to be 10. It doesn't have to be 5. One thing. And you're going to find out hold on just 1 second. You're going to find out during the week that you have 7 things that you were grateful for if you write down one thing a day. Would you believe that people or some people don't even think about what they're grateful for? But I'll challenge you with this, since we are all about facing challenges, to write one thing a day. You're going to go back and you're going to look at your list, and your list are going to tell you if you are a grateful person, because we need to do that much more. I'll tell you, I was so grateful for those flowers. They were so beautiful. I've never seen anything like that. So I stopped and I took a picture. That's the thing about being a photographer, is that we have insight into what's going to be photogenic. Those pictures were beautiful. I then sent them to my mom. See, we can do things like that that mean so much. So what are the benefits? How have we benefited here by saying every day one thing that we were thankful for? Trish, how have you benefited from that, or being thankful, or have you?
I have benefited from it. Um, there are times where before I came on here, my day was not so great, but just that question right there, it makes me think of at least that one positive thought in my head moves mountains. It moves negativity away. So that's how it benefits me to say what I'm thankful for.
Makes you think, doesn't it? So every day, remind yourself of something that you're grateful for. Start with one thing. That, ladies and gentlemen, should be effortless. You know, the other day, I was at my sister's and I was in her backyard, which I love sitting in the backyard. And we saw a hummingbird come to the bird feeder and feed itself. Things like that. We may need to take time to appreciate those things. See, we didn't have to go to faraway places to enjoy things like that, just to reflect on those little things. You see, we can choose what we think. You know, some of us will wallow in self-pity. You know, we want you to know that wallowing in self-pity is addictive, and it is destruction to you. It feeds on your mind as if it were a growing disease. And it's the kind of warm, gooey spot to be in, you know? And that's how it is. How would you feel if someone reached into their pocket and gave you an gooey candy that was warm? Would you eat it? No, you would say that's gross. So that is how self-pity, when you think self-pity it grows, and it starts to attach itself to the warmest, darkest places. I say every day, let light in. I come from where my mother would open her curtain every day. I've learned that, and I realize that there's value in letting the sunshine in your life. Even if it's a dampened day, a dark time for you, let sunshine in your thinking. Um, to this day, the first thing that I do is open my curtain. I found out that my grandbaby does it now. He will literally open my curtain, and he will say exactly what I said. Let's see outside. We realize that some of you have come from dark places. We realize that there's been trauma, tragedy, brokenness. Even when I was sick a few weeks ago, I just had to get from inside. I was well enough to be able to sit outside and enjoy the sunshine. It was a beautiful day. Do not allow those beautiful days to grow into mold in your pockets of life. Allow them to grow into positive features for you. Everybody get that? I sure hope so. Now, when we think about um, ourselves and how we can be grateful, once we're grateful, okay, we start unlocking. We start having access to keys to unlock so many things in our life. Oh, we're going to be right back. Stay tuned. What are some of the things that we can gain from choosing our thoughts? Well, if we're choosing more positive thinking, it improves our well-being, our brain. How do you feel when you sincerely are appreciative when someone thinks of you? On a medical level, and there's no doctors here, I am a life coach. I'm not a medical doctor, but it is fact that your brain releases happy hormones. Yeah. Someone ever got a gift or gave you a gift or you've given someone a gift, how do you feel? You're happy because they thought about you. You can feel the changes within you. You benefit from that. Whereas if we're managing that and we contrast that with our mood changes of depression, anxiety, and stress, we feel that too, right? And you feel anything but happy. So what does it mean? That you have to make your choice. You have to make that choice. We think about even physical pain. I have some physical pain, and yesterday was my last day of enduring it. So now I have to seek medical help to relieve pain. Like really go see a doctor and stop neglecting. Stop neglecting it. So we have to make a choice. Do I want to feel better? Do I want to feel better? or do I want to be in that same pain? The choice is up to me. I want to get better. We must take the opportunity to heal ourselves in whatever aspect we need to in life. Let's make choices that help us to think better. Let's be the people that have the keys to access endless opportunities. We're going to be right back with Trisha's Treasures. We'll be right back. We're back with our Think About Thursday, and I'm going to turn it over to Trisha's Treasures.
This podcast made me think about the good outweighing the bad thoughts. So I decided to paint myself a picture with, drawing a scenario. So on the paper, I have fractions, okay? Work with me, guys. I know some of you don't like math, but it's okay. It's going to make sense. So I have 1/5, and on the other side, I have 5/1. So we know 5/1 is 5. It's a whole. So let's imagine we have 5 good things and 1 bad thought. Okay, so the good things we have is a smile, what makes you smile, and what I have on smile is my niece. She makes me smile. And seeing the sunrise, that really makes me smile. The second good thing is amazed. What makes me amazed? So I have flocks of birds flying together. That makes me amazed. And dandelion fields. We have a lot of them here in South Carolina. I see them, and they are awesome. They are so, so awesome. If you haven't seen one, look up a picture. It will amaze you. Trust me. And here comes the bad thought. I'm having awesome thoughts, and then there's the bad thought. And I put anger. What makes me angry? So I have when I'm not being listened to, and trash all over the floor. That makes me very, very angry. And under that, I have, let me think of something better. What makes me laugh? What makes me laugh? So I have funny videos. That makes me laugh. And other people's laughter. That also makes me laugh. And the last good thought, I have peace. What brings me to peace? The wind on a hot day. If y'all can relate to me, on a very hot day in the breeze is just so awesome. It's a gift from God. Like the breeze on a very hot day is so awesome. And what else brings me peace is gospel R&B. And so back to the fraction. We have 5 good things. We have 5 things and only 1 bad thing that came out of the 5. But the 5 is on top, and everybody knows the numerator, if the larger number is on the numerator and 1 is the denominator, it'll come out into a whole, and that is 5. So the good can outweigh the bad. The good can outweigh it. And sometimes we let the bad thoughts be on top. We let the bad thought be our numerator, and the terrible thoughts be our denominator, and that numerator rules our entire day, and sometimes it rules our entire week, and it's been ruling, and there are some things that have been ruling our entire life from what happened in the past. But it is our choice to let the good thoughts win, to let the positivity win, to be optimistic when there's something that is not going your way during your day. So, cherish your mind, exercise your mind into thinking positive and into thinking of the brighter side of life, because the brighter side is always going to take over the darkness in a room and in your mind.
You want more of Trisha's treasures? Go and find her. Good morning for those of you who are coming in. Good morning. Trisha's treasure is part of our family, and we are so grateful for that. I love that, Trish. The 1/5. Thank you. Good morning and welcome to our audience. Where are you listening in from, please? And thank you. Where are you listening in from? We are a podcast all about emotional and mental health from Canada. Hi there. Welcome. Vibe Talk Facing the Lion is streaming everywhere. Go look for our social medias. Check out our YouTube channels. I think you're going to like us. Well, what do we have as our wrap up? Thank God that you're alive. Living. Think about your daily living. You make that choice or not. Our last question is, what have you learned and discovered about yourself during this podcast? Hi, Wesley. I hear you. By the way, guys, while we're answering that question, if you want help, you can directly text me at our Vibe Talk direct line, and I'm ready to give you the number, 661-503-8993. And that's the number for any help that you're asking for Vibe Talk. We do one-on-ones as well as a group. If you want to have a sit down with me, please do that. We're in the program and we'll get right to you. Just send me a text and we will definitely reach out to you. Again, that number is 661. Thank you so much for that. 503-8993. Thank you. What did you learn about yourself during this podcast? Trish, you want to go first? And how did it make you feel?
Sure. I've learned that my thoughts control my day, to be real. I never thought of it like that, but my mindset definitely does control how I react and how I take certain things head on in the day. And I've discovered that I can be I can be my worst enemy, but at the same time, it doesn't mean that I don't have the ability to switch my thoughts into optimism and thinking of the more positive outlook on things. And today, that made me feel motivated to change my mindset and think of more positive things.
Love it. Thank you. Anybody else can also answer that. Even when we're not here, you may answer our questions. We have a YouTube channel, Go check that out. You'll see more of our videos. How many videos do we actually have up now, Trish?
We have 274.
Wow. We're getting to almost 300. That marks our 3 years being here. That's a big number for us. Thanks to our amazing co-host, Trish, for doing all the work for that. We see you guys, and we know that you're coming to us, so we don't want to ignore you. We have a direct connect that is not a personal number. It is a number that can actually um, get you guys it is a number that actually can connect you to us. It is our direct connect, not a personal number. We want to thank you guys, all of our audience. We're seeing your comments. We hear you, and we want to be here for you. You can listen to this podcast in its entirety. And it will be on major streams, iHeartRadio, YouTube, and so much more. We thank you guys for being with us on this Think About Thursday. And what I've learned and discovered in this is that even if we make mistakes, we can choose to do better, and that we can strive for strength as well as compare and contrast where we have grown. There's always room for improvement, and I actually really enjoy this. Not that I don't enjoy any of them, but I really enjoy this. Thank you guys for being with us. Say hi to us if you find that you're running across our reels. We actually want you guys to talk about these topics. Say hi to us. Let us know that you're there. Don't forget that Saturday evening, our newest addition to our family is Vibe Talk After Dark radio show with your host, myself. And there's where we play smooth and chill music with song dedication. What song can I play for you? Thank you, everybody, for thinking about Thursday and your thoughts. We'll see you next time right here on Vibe Talk Facing the Lion. And thank you, Trish, for being such an amazing co-host. Thank you. We'll see you soon. I don't want you just to make a resolution. I want you to think about. I was really about to lose it, then I got the vibe with it. I really took a smile with it. I really love the ride with it. 3 years, really got the vibe with it. I took a smile with it. I really love the ride with it. You can really see I'm better you. When you get the vibe with it, yeah. When you get the vibe with it, yeah. Yes, not just saying something. It's about commitment.